Well, good afternoon and welcome to another little adventure with myself, and welcome back to the channel. Now, in the past few weeks, the mini bass Oblivion has been in full throttle mode. There have been small hamburger and hot dog sized bass everywhere. And last night I was just out with the boys, we were just chilling, we were just out watching the sunset, and there were bass jumping everywhere. So I had a flick, we were just catching them one after another. So I thought, let's come out tonight, set ourselves a little goal, have a little bit of fun and play. And what I mean by playing is, I brought 3 rods out with me, my lightest, my medium and my heaviest setup. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the smallest lure to the biggest lure I've got, and I'm going to try and cover all bases. I've got a really small metal, I've got a really small paddle tail, I've then got a weedless Senko kind of lure, and then I've got, I think, a surface lure. And then I've got a really big deep diver, and then I've got a snaky jig head kind of lure. And I'm going to see if I can catch a fish on every single one of them. If I can't, I can't. We can have some fun. I'm saying this, the bass probably won't turn up tonight after last night because it was crazy. Didn't have any cameras on me, just a rod in the back of the car. Quick go through. What I'm going to start off with is Sienna 1000, really light LRF rod, and a small little metal, which is about 10 grams. And what I'm going to do, once I finish with that, I'm going to move over to a soft plastic, which is about that big. If I catch on that, I'm then going to move over to the Temu Injection, the 79. This is an 8 to 35, and then I'm going to go to something about this big, which is the Mishna, and then I'll probably go to something like a Frosty. And then if all goes to plan and we're nailing fish, I'm going to go to the really heavy setup, and I'm going to throw something really big, and that's like a Fishus deep diver in a crazy lemon back color. And then also I'm going to throw a snaky jig head. I'm going to wait for the tide to come up a little bit, because when I got here last night the tide was really high, and hopefully we can get into some fish. The fish might be small, but I don't care. I'm just here to catch, have fun with Ben, try and catch some fish, set ourselves a little challenge and see if we can nail them. Let's go. If all goes well on the first rod and we get on the metal, I'm going to use this. So what I'm going to try and do is catch 2 fish on each rod using 2 different methods and 2 different lures. So on the first rod's the metal, and then it's this tiny little soft plastic. On the massive rod, if we get one on the big lure, then I'm going to go for an absolutely huge jig head style lure, which is a raise. And yeah, I don't know, the bass I was catching last night weren't that big, so, but they were fun, so I don't know if they'll take that. And I was saying that I was going to go for a Frosty, but I'm actually going to go for a spoon. And when I say a spoon, I mean a spoon. This little contraption. Only small. Tell you, little metal there. Not on ya. Well, there we go. First lure is down. Tiniest bass ever, little hot dog. Got to be really careful with these because they're really sharp and small, and they're really hard to handle. And I do not want a hook in my mouth. I really do not want a hook in my finger, especially this early in the challenge. And there we have it, a pristine little bass, absolutely tiny. Gonna hold it out to make it look 10 pounds, but that is the first fish of the challenge on a metal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly change over to a little soft plastic, and I'll show you what that is in a second. Yeah boy. So I'm going to change over from that, and what I'm going to go to is that little puppy. It's going to be hard to cast, but I'm hoping that we can clear this rod out of the window straight away Already caught on a metal, now it's for a small soft plastic. Just gonna slow drill this. If I reel it quick, it's not gonna sink. It's a bit windy as well, so this could be actually more difficult than I thought.
See that?
Yes, I got one at last. Oh, I nearly went to myself. Yeah, I seen you just go. Yes, I finally got one on the smaller. There we go, yeah, they all count here. Can't even get my finger in his mouth. Well, I can't get him off the hook bit. We got the small hook there and the small bass, they all count. Right, this is the smallest bass I've ever caught on a lure, but then again I am using the smallest lure. We finally got a fish on this really small lure, absolutely tiny, probably about 6 or 7 pounds. That's the LRF rod done. Now I can move on to some bigger lures and mum's spoon. So we've caught on a little metal and a little soft plastic, tiny soft plastic, 2 small bass, but we can move on to the medium sized rod now and the medium lures. Right, that's the small rod done. We can move up a level now. I'm going to a 5 to 35 gram. I'm going for a Mishna in lemonback. This is a rattle, it's about 15 grams. Hopefully it can produce a little bit of a better fish, because the last 2 fish were tiny. Not even fitting in a hot dog, to be honest, more of a finger bun. So as we lost mum's kitchen spoon, I tried to improvise a little bit and try and keep the lure off the beaten track, just to say that we've caught on 5 lures and something different. Check this out, all the girl bass love this one. Hopefully we can catch one. Quite heavy that lure as well. Yeah. Bass like pedas! Well, there we have it, first chuck on the willy lure. Not a big bass by any means, but you can tell this bass likes a little bit of willy. Taking on the metal willy shaped lure, tiny little pristine bass. There must be hundreds of these little things out there, but it's great fun. So that's us now caught on all the different types of lures, on the medium rod and on the small rod, the LRF. Going to move to something big now, which I think is going to be the hardest, because the lures that we're using on the bigger rod are the same size as these bass at the moment. So maybe a big lure goes for a big bass, we'll see. Now I think this is going to be the hardest part of the video. I thought the small, really weedless lure was going to be the hard part, but this is a Fishus Espetron diver. It's probably the same size as the bass that we've been catching. Who cares, we're just out for a bit of fun. Can we get on the big lure? If we can get past this, we're on to the last, which is going to be the hardest soft plastic about this big with a small hook. Let's do it, see if we can do it. These bass will take anything tonight. This lure is probably the size of the fish. That was first chuck, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was first chuck. I didn't think I was going to get one on that, but they're hitting absolutely everything, and it just shows on a night like this when there's bass around, albeit they're not that big, they will hit anything. It's a frenzy out there. Proving bass on the willy lure, bass on soft plastic, bass on diver, part bass on weedless, bass on everything. We've got one lure to go, and then I can just have some fun and relax. Just shows, look at the size of that lure compared to that bass. Half the size, probably bigger. Let's move to the next lure. The last lure of the competition is going to be this long beast. It's like a raised lure, just a small soft plastic, small hook. I think the hookup ratio on this is going to be hard because they're such small bass. They're going to probably be nipping that much of the lure. So this might be the hardest hookup, but if we get it, I'm going to be so happy, super excited, and it's just been a fun evening, and then I can just enjoy myself and cast metals all evening. Just to compare to the size that I was using before, that is the smallest lure, that is the biggest lure. Now the bass weren't even that big, but just gets to show that when they're feeding and they'll feed on anything. Great fun, love that shit. Well, I think that's the end of the fishy challenge tonight. I think it's been really good fun, and it just shows that when the bass are around, they'll feed on anything. Just shows when they're around, they'll feed on anything. I've had them on metals, I've had them on massive lures, I've had them on small soft plastics, I've had them on a penis shaped lure. Didn't have one on Mum's kitchen spoon, but it just proves that when they're hasty and they're hungry, they'll take anything. I'm gonna knock it on the head for that little bit of fun, little bit of madness, and I'm gonna actually now try and catch a fish without the cameras. So good fun, hope you enjoyed. It was great fun. Do it yourself. There's loads of bass around, they're small, it's a plague. Just mix it up, have a bit of fun. Use the lightest rod you've got, like this. The 3 to 15 or the 3 to 10 gram rod with a 1000 reel is exceptional fun when there's loads of small fish around, exceptional. Knock it down a gear, really thin line. This is 10-pound braid. That's a 20-pound fluoro. It's actually quite a really thin, got it from Yucky. Fluoro. These small little lures I actually got from Decathlon in France. They're like a little knockoff minnow-y kind of thing. They're great, but yeah, go small, go light when the small fish are around. You will catch big fish on small lures, just because, you know, big fish eat big fish, or big predators eat bigger things. They do eat smaller fish as well. When there's smaller fish around, like little sand eel, little pin, they still eat that. You know, they might chase mackerel, they might chase pollock, they might chase pouting, they might chase anything. They will still eat little pin. Ben's back into the fish, so I'm gonna get stepped back in. He's off. I'm gonna get stuck back in there.